Today I'm going to show you how to wire up your 3D printed Easy Make switch. You're going to need your three 3D printed parts, your switch base, your switch button, and your switch ring that holds it all together. You're going to need the switch itself. This is a limit switch. The links will be below. You'll need 2 red spade connectors to connect your wires to your switch. And then you'll need your cable. We're going to use a 3-foot section of 3.5 millimeter audio cable, and it's going to be a mono jack. You can tell that it's mono and it only has one black line right there. If there's 2 black lines, it's stereo and it won't work for this project. Okay, we're going to use our wire strippers, and we're going to strip off the end of the cable so that we can connect it to the switch. For this particular wire, I'm going to use the 10 setting for the outer sheath. I like to take off small bites at a time. If you try to take off a big bite, sometimes you strip off part of the inner wire, or sometimes it just doesn't work. If you have about an inch showing, you're doing pretty good. There's 2 wires inside there. We also need to strip off the plastic from the outside of those. I'm going to use my 6/32 setting, and I'm going to strip off about 1/4 inch or more. We're going to do that on both wires. There we go. Now we have exposed wire on the ends of both of our inner wires. Now we need to connect these into our spade connectors. On your wire strippers, there should be a crimping section on the back, and if you're using a red spade connector, there will be a red coated crimping section. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the exposed metal inside this wire, and it needs to get into the thin center section of this sleeve. That's where the metal is. There's no metal in this flared first section, so it has to get past that, and your copper has to be connecting to the metal on the inside. So we're going to put it in far enough so that it's inside that central sleeve, and we're going to crimp it on our red setting. And I like to crimp it a couple of times up and down that central sleeve section, just to make sure that it stays stuck in there and the wires won't pull out as easily. The second one we're going to need to trim so that it will fit inside the switch. There's only limited space, and this one's going to need to be trimmed so it fits. Like I said, this flared end here doesn't have any metal in it, and we're just going to trim off that flared section, and that should make it short enough for our switch. We're going to do the same process. Put this into the metal sleeve, get our red crimper, squeeze it tight, do that a second time. Okay, now we have our spade connectors connected to our audio cable. On your switch, there's going to be 3 plugs. So you have to connect one of these spade connectors to the bottom plug. We're going to do that with the one we did not trim. And make sure that the curled sections face into the switch. That'll make it fit more precisely inside your housing. The second one is going to go on this middle prong. We don't want to connect to the top prong. If we do that, your switch is going to work in reverse and it won't actually be very handy. Let's test it to make sure it works. I have a modified back massager here that has the female end that goes into the battery compartment. If we plug it together and we push this switch, we'll see if it works. It works good. So let's put it inside our switch housing that we 3D printed. You're just going to take it, you're going to slide it into this little box here. We're going to take our wire, and then we're going to wrap the wire in a winding, kind of like S pattern through all of these pegs. And the reason for that is so that if this cord gets tugged on or yanked, it's not going to pull against these plugs. It's just going to pull a little tension through all of these pegs. Then you pop your button on top, pop your ring on top of that to hold it all together, and screw it together. And let's test one more time to make sure it's working. Here we go. Now you have wired together your Easy Make 3D printed switch. Thanks so much.